And you're with Damo here on 4AK. Well, our car manufacturing industry may be all but gone now in Australia, but did you know where the first Queensland-made car was actually manufactured? Well, you'd be surprised, and in our local history, Harold Peacock from History Out There has the story. Good morning, Harold.
Yes, good morning, Damo. Yeah, 125 years ago, this year, the first Queensland-made car.
Wow. And
it went onto the conveyor belt and came off a couple of months later.
And it was made on the Darling Downs.
That's right, and made right here in Toowoomba.
Right.
So it's a industrial hub right here in Toowoomba in the Darling Downs for over a century.
Yeah, so how did it all happen?
Yeah, look, the car was called the Trevethan. That's Trevethan, Trevethan.
Yep.
Now, that was a motor buggy with apparently a 1.5 horsepower single-cylinder engine. And it was Queensland's first car made right here. It was designed and built by the brothers Thomas and Walter Trevethan in their coach works on Neil Street in Toowoomba. Now, like I said, construction started 125 years ago in 1901 and finished early the following year in 1902. In 1903, that car was driven down the Toowoomba Range and onto Redcliffe on the north side of Brisbane. Now, the lack of engine oil and fuel along the way and a primitive engineering back then made long journeys like that a massive achievement. So it's not to be underestimated driving from Toowoomba to Redcliffe in 1903. Now, that 1915 car, it was at risk because that car was seriously damaged after being charged by bullocks in 1915. So the cows didn't like it. But I'll post a picture of that car, and it is absolutely amazing. But the people behind it are even more fascinating. That's what I want to tell you about now.
Right.
Like I said, the builders of the car were Thomas and Walter Trevethan. Their uncle, Adolphus Trevethan, he was killed by Aboriginals in 1852. He was one of the really early pioneers. He was a manager of the cattle property Rawbell near Eidsfeld up in the Upper Burnett district. Their father was Thomas Trevethan Sr., who in 1888 was in fact the 22nd mayor of Toowoomba. And he was born in Plymouth, Devonshire, England. He did a blacksmithing apprenticeship in Toowoomba, and in 1863 established the Toowoomba Coach Factory, which became the most reputable provincial factories in Queensland, I was going to say in the state, but in the colony. Now, the factory was first in Ruthven Street and then Neil Street, and it was proudly signposted as being by appointment to His Excellency Sir H.W. Norman. Now, that's Sir Henry Norman. He was a senior Indian Army officer who served in the Second Anglo-Sikh War and the Indian Mutiny and was governor of Queensland. So they had great clients. Now, Thomas Sr., he was just 45 years old when he died, leaving a widow and 12 children. And the oldest of whom, a daughter, was only 18 years old.
Right.
So they had to work hard. And it was in the coach factory because the ownership of the coach factory passed on to the family and they all worked in there. Now, Walter, he was the oldest son, and Walter's wife, Eva, she also died unexpectedly, leaving him with 4 children of his own to raise. The youngest was just 3 months old. Now, the wife was actually the granddaughter of the rector of Heslington in Yorkshire, England. And check this, he was the librarian to the Knights of the Garter at St George's, Windsor Castle.
Oh.
Now, the Knights of the Garter, that's the world's oldest national order of knighthood in continuous existence.
Yes.
And the most exclusive, with never more than 24 members.
Wow.
So that connection right here to Toowoomba. Anyway, in 1909, Walter held a meeting at the Crown Hotel on Market Street to announce that he had bought the Toowoomba Coach Factory business from the rest of his family. So Walter was now the boss. But historic feats for he and the family didn't end there. You see, in 1912, Walter set a new motorcar speed record by driving his 6-cylinder Napier Tourer from Brisbane to Toowoomba. So he came uphill in just 3 hours and 7 minutes. But look, he would have gone a fair bit faster, except that he got a flat tyre along the way, and was held up at the railway gates at Redbank. So he was losing time, but 3 hours, 7 minutes, Brisbane to Toowoomba. Wasn't too bad in 1912.
No.
Yeah. And then in the First World War, Walter's brother, Lynn Trevethan, he flew in the 4th Squadron that set the world record of all air forces on the Western Front by bringing down 245 German aircraft in the final 12 months of the war. So records was in the blood of this family.
Yeah.
And in 1929, on the sporting front, Walter's nephew, Tommy Trevethan, he scored 2 centuries in a 2-day A-grade cricket match to set a Toowoomba record. I'd be exhausted after one of them, but he did 2 in 2 days.
Wow.
Now, Walter was the Queensland distributor of Triumph motor cars. When in 1930, his son, Werner Trevethan, drove a Triumph 7 to break the Brisbane to Sydney mileage record. And so look, the list goes on with the records that these guys, this family, has produced for Queensland. And this remarkable story of Queensland engineering began with that Toowoomba coach factory in 1863, and like I said, it announced itself to the country, to the nation, by turning out Queensland's first car in 1902. And Dame, I think you referred to at the start, sadly there's no legacy of a car industry in Australia anymore.
No.
But when I post photos of the Trevethan car and the subsequent cars they had, the progress and the rapid evolution of the design is just absolutely amazing, and it all came out of Toowoomba.
There you go. The Toowoomba Coach Works and the Trevethan family. And if you go onto our Facebook as well, you can actually see a picture of their workshop with some of those cars out the front. And no doubt you'll see more pictures and the full story on historyouthere.com. That is where people can go, and you'll post it up a little later this week, yeah?
That's right. Friday morning I'll be posting this story about the Trevethan car and all these photos. Like I said, it's absolutely amazing. And if you're walking down Neil Street, just think back 125 years, what it was like, those type of cars driving past you to the Coachworks.
Well, still reckon 3 hours from, Brisbane to Redcliffe?
That's right.
No, from Toowoomba to...
Brisbane to Toowoomba, 3 hours and 7 minutes. Try to beat that.
I think that's a pretty good record in one of those old cars, that's for sure.
It's amazing.
Mate, always good to chat, and we'll look forward to doing it again next week.
Yeah, see you then.